We are rolling on podcast episode 4. I'm wearing the headphones right now so as to audio check on this Wednesday, December 10th episode of Hooked on Drupal. And this is going to be our retrospective / best of 2014 issue. So, last year's retrospective we didn't do. So we could cover a lot of ground. All of the 90s and 2000s, the aughts.
Oh my, yeah.
But I think we should try to keep it to just 2014. So I'm Shane Siva. I'm the marketing director here at Commercial Progression, and I'm joined by Chris Keller and Brad Czerniak. What we're doing today is the retrospective issue. These guys have a lot of history. We covered some of that last time, but we may have missed a few things. Let me hand it over. Can you guys kick it off? What stands out and is noteworthy from 2014?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
Start at the middle.
Well, I mean, Drupal-geddon, it's not really good, but it stands out.
It certainly does.
Yeah, I mean, when a huge asteroid hits the planet, we mark that as an event that transpired.
Right.
Was it really that big of a security issue? I mean, with a little bit of hindsight now?
I think when we talked about it before, since I've been doing Drupal, I can't think of a core vulnerability that was that bad.
Yeah, and in my previous place, if one site got hacked, then it was the most important thing in the world. But since I got on here and have multiple clients, it's definitely the one that did the thing.
Yeah, and I guess I'm still reeling from Joomla 1.5 days, where the entire universe was a hack fest.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was actually doing some traveling in Europe, and I was maintaining sites. This is a bit of a confession. I was a newbie, but I think I actually hacked my own sites from Turkey and then had Turkish hackers come in on my back door to finish the work.
Yeah.
So I remember kind of some of those early days for me of CMS security, and all these PHP scripts were kind of thrown up there, and the European Turkish hackers, man, they were all over it. Some nasty stuff. I had a lot of my websites taken over with. Usually, it was like a picture of like a frog.
Something cute then.
Yeah, it was
Turkish hackers. They're not so bad.
No, I mean they just wanted to let me know that there was, that they belonged in the EU, and they were a little bit upset about it.
Yeah. Okay. But what version is Joomla up to these days?
Oh, I think, 3.5 is what is coming out, and they're on kind of a weird release cycle where their long-term release ends up just by happenstance the way it is the 0.5 release, and that'll be covered for like a year and a half.
Okay.
I don't know, how does Drupal do that now as far as
like major
versions?
Yeah,
what's their major versus a short release? Do they have such a thing?
So we've been working in 7 for the last few years. There's this huge push for Drupal 8 to come out, and in between the versions are just numbered based on releases, and they happen. Usually it's kind of an alternating between and that's how it is. It's like odd numbers for security releases, or is it the other way around?
I don't think that it has to be, because 7.32 is the big one, right? And 7.33 was
the fix,
just a fix.
So
I'm not sure if it matters though.
I think at some point they said something to that effect.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So the odd point releases you think might be security?
No, the even. Because 7.34 was a security release as well.
We're going to double check this. There's going to be a link above someone's head.
If
and you
that's
should click
true,
on it
then
for
it'd be even.
The skinny
even releases. It'd be security ones. Yeah, and they don't release a major version. They don't have like a set schedule. Like when it's ready is when it's released.
Okay.
So, they don't shoot for a certain date. I mean, they set deadlines that they try to meet, but there's no like set in stone date that they launch by.
For Drupal 8, they're trying a whole bunch of different things when it comes to versioning, and so there may be kind of a major version, maybe not 9, but maybe 10 or something, where it'll be like, oh, we're just going to call this a major version or something like that. So they're changing stuff.
And in 8, there are going to be like an 8.1 release, which is kind of a minor release, but it's a little different than how they do it now.
Right.
And if 8 would have launched in 14, that would have been the big release.
Yeah.
Was there an update in 7 that was significant that changed in 14 that changed the feature set, or
No.
not really?
Never.
Yeah, I mean, they don't usually do that sort of thing. I mean, we could go into, modules that, like contrib modules that we found very useful this year, or even themes, like starter themes and stuff.
Yeah, let's go down that path. A module that you discovered in 2014 that's all that.
I have a very simple one. It's called empty front page. We used to write a little bit of code, and it's still in our custom module file, but
I'm getting away from that.
All it does is make the front page empty, because it's a thing we usually want to start with, because Drupal out of the box has kind of a bloggy front page where it'll you create articles and it just lists them all on the front page. Generally, you don't want your Drupal sites to do that, so this just makes it blank, and then you can add blocks or whatever else you want to add to the front page.
Okay, just gives you a clean
It's very
view.
simple. It's a very little amount of code, but it's a cool module. I really like using it.
Our whole everything is a block thing has been a this year deal, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I've seen that posted around the office in a few places. It's kind of like a Zen reminder about, I'm guessing, all of life is that's how you approach everything.
It applies to life equally as to Drupal, but in Drupal specifically, it lets you. It's a good mindset.
Now, is this something you adopted in 2014, or is it?
Either late 2013 or early 2014, I would say.
Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Tell me how it works.
Okay, well, the way that I first was really geeked about it was I was building out a site for one of our clients, and I was trying to build out a theme that was very simple from an administrative standpoint. And in Drupal, if you look at what's called page.tpl.php, it contains things like the page title and tabs and all this stuff. And it's like, that doesn't seem really modular. It doesn't seem like configurable the same way as a lot of the other things that are configurable on a Drupal site. So the first shot out of the bat, I kind of just wrote a whole bunch of blocks that did what I wanted, and then realized that there is a contrib module called Blockify. It's the greatest module, and they did the exact same thing that I had done. So yeah, things like the page title and stuff become blocks. You can place them. You can reuse them depending on other modules that you're using. Do all kinds of fun stuff with them. So I thought that was really nifty, and then we kind of just extended that. And the everything is a block mindset, I guess, to me is like, at a certain point you're deciding what is something, and if you have to defer, then usually block is a good way to go.
Okay, if in doubt, you block.
Right.
Whatever it is.
But
and that just gives you full modular control by default of.
Yeah, because you have been recently introduced to the Drupal block system, right?
Yeah, I would have to say that my favorite Drupal feature is the block as well.
Yeah.
I know I'm missing my nomenclature here, but maybe my favorite Drupal module is Drupal for me this year.
Okay, that's a good choice. Solid, yeah.
It's either that or email. It's kind of a toss up. Both of those things have been significant for me in 2014.
Okay.
But no, I like that approach, and I've seen the advantages if you can blockify something. One of my questions, and I think this was a limitation in Joomla land as well, was I couldn't take a block and replicate it into different, what I think in Drupal is it regions?
Regions, right.
Yeah, so I couldn't like build a page that was 15 instances of the same block. Is that true?
Kind of.
There are ways to do it, yeah.
So
always
in
a way.
Drupal 8, if you wanted to have 25 page titles on your page, you can do that. Just wham, bam, you're done.
Right.
In Drupal 7, if you wanted to do something like that, there are a few different ways. Context module lets you reuse blocks. Block reference does. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can go about doing that. I guess blocks are kind of meant to be used once, and you can see that intention architecturally.
Yeah, there's a right way to use it, and that's why they give you a picker with select one.
Right, you can put it in one region. But I mean, you can display it on multiple pages. But, right.
So you can see, like in the dashboard module, if you try to reuse blocks, it does not. It's very unhappy about that, and like the way the block IDs are created. That's one notable change in Drupal 8 is how like the structure of block IDs. I don't know enough about it to talk about it anymore.
And and that's the level of sincerity and honesty that you get on this podcast. There's a lot of other podcasts out there. We're not going to name any names, but man, they will just BS their way through anything, but not us. Not us. Very, very upfront here. So we covered some of our favorite Drupal modules. Tell me a little bit about web services in general. So did you discover a new service utility tool that's noteworthy in 2014?
I discovered something yesterday, and because my
that
memory
counts.
only goes back one day, that's all I can really think of. So I've been using Vagrant for my development, which is like a tool you can use to spin up a virtual machine that contains your entire development. Your lamp stack and everything is contained within this virtual machine. And with this, it's called, I don't know how you pronounce it, maybe Puffet or something, but it's puphpet.com. And you can generate these really sweet Vagrant files from that. And they have things like where you can install Drush. And so when you run this file, it spins up this really cool virtual machine with everything that you would need to do web development and even Drupal.
Now,
Cool.
the name Puffet, does that put this in the category? I think you were starting to describe for me earlier that there's like a hipster band of Drupal modules, or what did you call it?
It's
the
more
hippie,
web development
web
tools.
hippie tools. If it's named Puffet,
No, I don't think so. I don't know if the hipsters use the Vagrants.
Yeah, I don't know.
They would use a
the
Mac
hipsters,
and MAMP probably.
like if it doesn't run on like a old IBM PC, then it's probably not gonna
Like an Apple II green screen.
Yeah. I think hipster web development really focuses on what we would consider front end.
Sure.
Like, I have this static site, and I'm going to have like 27 build tools in order to build out.
Yeah, like
that
my
we would
terminal
just do.
window is split into 27 sections, all watching different file types. And, yeah.
and I programmed it while riding my bike to work this morning.
And on your treadmill
Naturally.
desk.
Okay, I diverted that into kind of a cultural critique.
Well,
nothing against the hipsters.
No,
and
but
their-
we
and
should
their
go over
modules.
some of these tools that we put in this category, which is anything to do with Ruby or Node,
Right. Yeah.
pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to use these.
Okay, so maybe.
And I mean,
yeah.
I might have a mustache during the next podcast. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and hemp clothing is looking.
It's
pretty,
looking good.
Yeah.
It smells good. I like it. Yeah.
Now, I mean, even I, who tries to reject all of that crap.
Anything that's new,
Yeah, if it's new and people are saying it's good,
you're
nope.
out.
Yeah. Huge red flag.
Yeah.
Huge red flag there. I understand.
The static site generating tool called Jekyll uses both Ruby and its gem
Stuff.
thing, and it requires some sort of JavaScript runtime, and the V8 from Node works a charm for that. So I had to install both of those when I reimaged my desktop this past week, in order to get Jekyll back up and running. And if you're doing that, quick tip, use the GitHub-pages gem. It installs all of the dependencies and matches your environment to the GitHub one in case there's any difference in versions of different things. Throwing that out there for you.
Wow,
Okay.
that's a freebie. And I think I'll probably put a link you can click on Brad's head right
His
now,
face,
and
yeah.
it'll take you right there. Now, is that your web service Jekyll that you're presenting as the pick of 2014?
I don't know about any web services. When I think web services, I think of like soap, like
You're getting right down, yeah. Okay.
like I guess like restful stuff. Like
I'm thinking more utilities or
Utilities
something that
and
people should check out. But I mean,
the Google has been doing a lot of good things lately. I really like what you can do in Chrome, and I guess you could probably have done this for quite a while, but it might have been a 2014 thing, where you can have multiple profiles at the Chrome level. So I've got like two windows open. They're both the same instance of Chrome, but they're like you can have different themes and extensions and all that fun stuff. And so I can keep my history separate and all things like that. So I've got my personal window and my business window. My business window's just all work stuff, and I can go back to my history and be like, hey, check that out. So I like what Google's been doing.
okay. And then Chrome becoming more useful. Our last podcast, we alluded to
I was going to say
Mozilla
this might be a good
developer.
time to bring up the Mozilla, well, the whole Mozilla company in general, and their new Firefox Developer Edition.
Yeah, and I
browser.
think it's timely that they scheduled this release with a lot of the hype for the upcoming Jurassic Park sequel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think they saw that coming. And like,
Saw an opportunity there.
This is the time.
Yeah.
So they went ahead and released that. So a tool that came out in 2014. It doesn't sound like you spent a whole lot of time with it, Chris, but maybe you have some first impressions.
Yeah, I've been using it. It's got to be going on 3 weeks or so now. And the reason I decided to switch to it, I'll prefix this with something, well, because I switched to Debian as my Linux distro, and I tried to install Chromium, which is my browser of choice. And there was something about the Chrome API keys were missing, and you ran into this as well. So I just said, I'm going to ditch this and try this new Firefox. And I really haven't had any reason to go back to Chrome. I really like. I mean, it does pretty much everything that the Chrome dev tools do that I've noticed, and I like the way it looks. It's fast. It's a lot faster than the Firefox I remember from a couple years ago. And you can emulate devices like you can in Chrome. You can do, there's like a responsive design mode.
Okay.
I don't know, it's really cool. I encourage people to check it out, at least give it a try. Because Mozilla's pretty open, and I go to their, that MDN, Mozilla Developer
MDN.
Network page for when I need to reference anything. It's a great resource. So.
Hey, that's an excellent segue, Chris. I've got some tips for you. Hello, microphone. If you're looking for something like a CSS property or something JavaScripty, if you type in MDN first, you're a lot less likely for W3 schools and stuff to show up in the first part of the Google results. And here are a couple more things that you can do that you may already know about, but here are specific ones. If you're looking for a font and you want to steal it, you can type the name of the font.
There's a disclaimer on the screen right now.
Yeah, don't steal stuff.
Yeah.
When I say steal, I mean if you're looking for a font that has a free and open license and you want to get it easily, you can type the name of the font like Open Sans and then type site:/github.com And then optionally, if you have too many results or the results don't look correct, you can put in file type :TTF, and you can get the true type font for it, which you can use at Font Squirrel and all those other tools.
Yeah.
So if you go into the search tools for Google, there are a number of things on that page, the advanced search page, that you can enter there, or when you learn the little string : dealy, it comes out to work fairly well. So those are some search tips for you for today.
Wow. I think we should
Bonus.
have a whole new segment dedicated to Brad's tips on Googling.
Yeah.
How to use that. I mean, it's a scary field. You know, you can put anything you want in there.
Right.
If everyone will join me, anytime that I do a search on Google and it doesn't come up with results, I like to tweet that, and that way at least there will be one result later in the future. And so if you go onto my Twitter at AO5357, all the ones hashtagged with Google, and usually no results as well, are just like ridiculous phrases that I've thought to do a search for, and oftentimes come up really disappointed. So
That's a helpful
yeah.
service that you provide.
Yeah.
And just, really quick, I've seen Brad's handle come up in Counter-Strike. At first I thought it was AOL 537, like it was like some sort of leftover from your first email account, but it's not. Like, it's not an AOL reference. It's more of like a AO, like that's one of your favorite sayings. Like,
He says that.
Yeah, all the time.
constantly.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Like, that's-
I can't get him to shut up about it.
whoa!
I'm mad. I'm real mad right now.
Hey,
never
you're going to peek the microphone, Chris.
I've never seen Chris so irate. He's getting a little red. Okay.
Calm down.
I never say AO. I'll say a coarse word that can't. I'm not sure our show. I say and murder. I say murder a lot.
yeah.
The AO is kind of, it's like a proclamation of like the joke just hit and you should be getting it right now.
I think we'll probably start saying it a lot more in the
I
office
appreciate
now
it because
after today.
it's a cue of, something funny just happened. You need to think about that.
Yeah.
And
The
What if we
louder,
say
the
it
more annoying you can say it. The better.
every time we see you, though. I mean,
yeah.
we think we're making fun of you.
I-
We will be.
Yeah, no,
But-
I try not to process things in that way. I just
Okay.
Anyway, okay, so you've just presented a really great service, and people could follow you on your Twitter account. I think this is great. I'm going to start, and then maybe there's some way to auto link my Google searches to Twitter. I think every Google search that I do in 2015 should just automatically hit Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you want all of those on Twitter? I mean, are there some
No, it's
that
going to be really
maybe-
embarrassing, but
Yeah.
I just think that would be a helpful service
Yeah.
to, if everyone did that, just imagine how handy that would be.
Beyonce picking up things. Crap.
Our boss is trying to get in right now, but he's just going to handle business out there in the hallway. I was going to wave him in, but I mean,
We're going to have a guest.
Yeah, a special guest.
let's see. Well, I don't know if we can get his attention. Anyway, okay. So we're coming in on our half-hour mark, and we're going to try to keep things around a half an hour. We got 5 minutes, give or take. But let's wrap up here. Anything else from 2014 noteworthy? Devices, gadgetry.
You're trying to get a Nexus 6,
Yeah.
but it's impossible to get one. It would probably be your device.
But
of the
that is
year
your
if you
device
could
in
actually
2014
get
if you could
one.
have
It
it.
might be the device of 2015. Not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Well, that other one I sent the other day was pretty compelling, and you might be able to buy it if you get it in England and have it shipped over. It's like the Yada Phone 2 or something like that, and it's got a regular screen on one side and an e-ink display on the other, and they do fancy things with the e-ink side. So it's like good battery life, and they've got it set up so like if you use the camera app and you're pointing it out like that it kind of looks like an old-timey camera, and there's a little banner that says like smile. I thought that was really clever.
Yeah.
Interesting. There will be a link and a visual for this as well.
I think mine might be the Chromecast.
Okay.
Is my favorite device. I think that came out this year.
Did it?
It's very possible. That could be.
You were introduced
wrong
to
as
it
well.
this year. That counts. Okay. Yeah. For me, devices. I just let's see if I got anything. I wanted an iPhone 6 just because I've slowly been converted into an Apple fanboy.
Right.
But I dropped my iPhone 5 all over the place, and I kind of like that it's a little tank that can just take a beating.
Right.
And it's a little bit roughed up and cracked. It's still probably my favorite 2014 device, and I don't think I need the 6 anymore. After seeing people's bendy butt problems where they sit on it and it blows up.
I mean,
all you have to do is glue one of those old Nokia phones
to the back.
To the back, yeah.
All right. Well, let's not belabor this. 2015 is right around the corner. Big
Year of
things.
the jetpack.
The year of the Linux desktop. For
Also,
sure.
yes.
The year of the jetpack, probably hoverboard, and Drupal 8.
Yeah,
hopefully.
and if Robert Zemeckis was correct, then it's also the year that the Cubs go all the way.
Wow.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Back to
Those
the
some
future.
strong
Yes.
predictions. Very strong.
It's been predicted a long time ago, that one.
Yeah.
In the 80s, even.
What's weird about that is, like, if you had an original iPod and there was an antique store, it might actually say antique computer. So them having an original Macintosh in that movie and calling it antique computer is certainly true, but the antiqueness of devices has gotten way accelerated to the point where something from 2000 is probably already there. So this is just this is a thought for you.
Those antiques. I don't know about them.
What really counts as an antique, right? Okay, well, and those are some predictions for you for 2015. Bold and striking, which is, kind of what you've come to expect from this podcast. We're not going to pull any punches here. If we think hoverboards are on their way, then now you're looking at a picture of them because the camera stopped and that's what you get to see.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I know we can't see it anymore, but I mean, this should obviously link to a Goonies clip.
I heard that they're going to do a sequel of Goonies.
That makes me excited and sad,
And
at
sad
the same time. Yeah. I wish they would have done a sequel back in the day, but I don't know about now. I mean, unless you can get Nicolas Cage in there somehow.
Well, and we know we
And
can.
then it's gold.
You got $20.
All right, and so the last few moments here, you're now watching the cartoon character versions of the podcast, which I think we can work up pretty quick, just as stand-ins,
Some stickmen or something.
Yeah, I think that's
okay.
that's a good way to go. And this will probably be the last podcast of 2014. Look for us right around the new year. Peace out. Is that how we end it?
So I was going to say it, and you said it.
Sugar mash.
All right, game over.